I went from £300 to over 25k in about 6 months selling on Amazon when I was a broke university student in my university room. I had minus £990 to my name. I worked a job. I then threw that money into Amazon mentoring. Again, after I failed the first time that I started, I then had about £300 to £500 left, and I scaled that all the way up to that 25k mark, dropped out of university. Now I'm doing this full time, and I managed to scale this to a 5k a month business because it got to 5k a month when I got to that 25k mark in as little as I did, due to these strategies that I'm going to go through with you today. And I'm actually going to show you some of the products that allowed me to do this, just so that you guys can see there is levels to this on Amazon and you can make a bunch of money and actually get out of a situation that you're in. Or if you've already got some money, you can scale it even further. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video, and I'm going to run you through exactly how I did it. So I've never actually really shared this before, but these are some of the products that I basically sold. And I can try and put some of the images on the screen of me having those products as well, and how much money I made, all the sales and stuff like that. And yeah, like basically at the time, bit of background, I did a few mentorships for Amazon, and then I understood then how to find wholesalers, how to use Keep a Product Finder, which was the main sole reason that I found this product. And then how to find distributors, how to place big orders, and I understood how to use cash flow. So I took out overdrafts, I took money from friends and invested into Amazon to help me scale. And this is something, again, that I speak a lot about with my students, especially in the group coaching, even the one-to-one. Getting your hands on capital is so key. Once you have the skill of knowing how to find products, the only thing holding most of you back is your capital, and that's very easy to get. A lot of the time, learning is actually harder to acquire than money. So you should always put learning first. The little money that I had, in terms of like the 1,000 or so that I had, I put that money into learning because I understood that. And this came from me in my first sort of few months of starting Amazon in almost 2022. When I quit, I could never get past the 2k mark because I basically didn't know what I was doing. I was basically just freestyling because I was too arrogant to go and pay someone to learn. And then I understood, you know what, learning is more important than anything else. I then went back to the drawing board, learn, and no wonder why I scaled up so quickly. And it's funny because these similar stories have happened inside SS University as well. Take Chris, for example, who scaled to 20k in sales within 3-4 months of starting. We had Alex, who did 90k in his first 4 months using the same strategies. We also had Cedric as well, who managed to scale to these numbers very fast. Same with Sane as well, using similar strategies as well. So, and even Sarah recently as well. So you can scale up quite quick. You just need to understand that knowledge comes first and then access to capital comes after. That is all that you need, trust me. Knowledge and access to capital. But let's actually go through the products that I sourced and how I sourced them, where I got them from. I'm even going to show you where I got them from, and yeah, why they were so good. So at the time, I was buying this product here and at the time I wasn't VAT registered. So I was buying this product, I remember, for £6.20, I remember at the time. And at the time it was selling for about $18.99 or $17.99 was how much I was selling for. So as you can imagine, an $18.50 was kind of my sweet spot. If I had to undercut, I would do $17.99. I'd never ever go lower than $16.99, so that would be my lowest. And as you can see, the reason why I scaled so quickly is because look at my return on my investment. My return on my investment was so high that all it would take is 2 months or so and I'm getting a 160% return. Whereas a lot of new sellers and people that sell on Amazon, you guys are chasing 20-30% returns, which is cool if you've got money, but if you don't have money, you need to kind of be chasing that bigger number. My profit margin was so high as well, and £5 profit per unit. I sold at least, I remember I used to buy these in batches. So I'll actually share to you how I managed to go aggressive on this. So when I actually found this product using Keep a Product Finder and using my special filters that are secret inside of SS University. But once I actually found this product, one thing I did, which was very smart, instead of placing a test order, because I didn't have time, I didn't want to place a test order, I simply did this one trick, which you can still do, I think is really cool, is where you actually add some of the sellers' stock to your basket. So I would add, for example, this guy, I would add his stock to his basket. Now he's got a order quantity limit. Do you see how it only says 4, but it says in stock and it doesn't let you scroll anymore? He only allows you to buy 4. So I wouldn't do it with someone like this, but I'd maybe check the other sellers who are selling very close to him, and I'd add their stock to my basket and I would see how many they could sell. So I remember adding one of the guy's stock to my basket and he sold 100 in 3 days. So I thought, hold up a second. his numbers was just going down and down and down and down. So why would I place a test order? I was like, this clearly sells, let me get them in. So I went aggressive. My first order with this product, I ordered 150 units of this and basically £1,000, but look how high my profit was. So I was basically making back anything that I spent. And then what did I do? Well, the 150 actually sold out in under 2 weeks. So I understood, well, I can actually double this now. So then I went ahead and did a bigger order of 300. And all I had to do, that 1.8K, I just reinvested that 900 plus that 700. Plus, then obviously I asked friends for 200, 300 pounds or from another overdraft for this, which helped me pump in a bit more money. And as you can see, I'm spending 1.8K, but I'm making 1.5K. And this is the power of high ROI. You know, most people on Amazon these days, they're buying something like this for $6.20 and they're selling for $12.99. Or they're selling for like $14.99. That's kind of the range. Even that's quite high. I would say most people are doing this. This is most people's profit per unit and ROI. So look, if they spent 1.8, yeah, they're making 561, which is cool, but I'm making 3 times that. So I'm scaling at a 3 times faster rate. So I'm selling for $17.99. And that is why I am able to scale so quickly with this. Now, this was one product, for example. I had products like this as well. I had like 3-4 products like this, which was basically 80, 90, 100% return. And that's how I just scaled up so quickly. The wholesaler that I actually used was this wholesaler here. Now, how did I find it? Now, I found it through some of the methods that I learned on how to find wholesalers. Now, should you guys use this wholesaler? The reason I am showing you this as well is kind of because you can't use these guys anymore. Korean Beauty on Amazon. And this is now a story on how it all ended as well. But this was the wholesale. I'll go to the bit on how it all ended and how I had to stop doing this. But at the time, there was a mad market. There was a mad gap. And this is the thing you guys have to understand. With business, you have to exploit gaps like that. Business is all about exploiting gaps and making as much money as possible in that time frame. You can obviously chase consistency. Of course, you want to chase something that works long term. But in terms of like scaling a business up fast, it's all about chasing a gap, scaling up fast, and then managing that scale, which is a lot easier if I'm honest with you. I'd rather make 25 grand and then be sitting there with 25 grand thinking, what are my options, than be making 1K per month really slowly. You know, what's the point of that? You know, you want to scale up fast and then think, all right, how can I strategize? How can I change? Because now you've got leverage, you've got money, which you can change things. In my eyes, with business, you want to scale up aggressively and then you can manage things from there. Now, I was buying from here, and the great thing with these guys is their minimum purchase was only like $300, which was great. So most wholesalers will ask for bigger quantities, and these guys had quantity discounts, which was perfect. So, you know, it really helped, because basically, and I'll show you, for example, like if you click on this product here, they would have price breaks. So this one's not available. But if we click on maybe this product here, do you see how they have price breaks? So the more you order, you'll get 10% off. And then the great part was that they actually had discount codes as well. So this was almost like a retailer website. This isn't really typical of a wholesaler. Wholesalers usually, like modern day wholesalers or like your best wholesalers, won't usually look like this, but this was just a very good wholesaler at the time. And in terms of like now story time, why maybe you can't use them anymore is because Korean Beauty on Amazon basically had a gap in the market. So Korean Beauty has kind of gone downhill a little bit now at the moment. A lot of people got accounts deactivated from it. Me personally, I actually had an account deactivated because of it, because Amazon just weren't happy with the invoices from Korea. A lot of customer complaints, even though the customers were authentic. Asian Beauty Wholesale was a verified distributor, by the way. But you have to be careful in certain markets on Amazon. Arabian perfumes is one as well, and Korean skincare. A lot of customers call those products fake for no reason. It's not any fault of your own, but people are just stupid and people will call your products fake. And Amazon's a very buyer-centric product marketplace. They always prioritize the customer. So if they call your stuff fake and you submit an invoice and then Amazon like, you know what, no, you know, it's not really gonna, you know, there's nothing you can do, unfortunately, and you have to accept that. That's why I'm warning you guys, do not go down this route now. You will definitely get in trouble. It's funny because all of the guys that did actually exploit this, I think we all had accounts deactivated. I think Alex did. He exploited the Korean market as well. There was a mad brand called this brand here, which still sells really well. I think it was this one or Anua, one of these, which essentially was selling like 5,000 times a month, and you can get it at like 30% profit margin. But like I said, what happens is the more volume you have on Amazon sometimes, especially with products like this, and then you get customer complaints, it's kind of long. And that's what you just have to be a bit careful with on Amazon. When you send in high volumes, make sure that you are buying from a place that's kind of guaranteed to be accepted by Amazon, which, again, when you think of what can be guaranteed, just think about places that are maybe well known, or again, ask around and see what people have to say about certain, distributors and stuff like that. Often the foreign ones are a little bit hard when it comes to Amazon accepting them. But actually it's interesting because those products on Asian Beauty Wholesale, a lot of the time Amazon said on there, it said you shouldn't sell on Amazon. So that was where there was a little bit of a gap in the marketplace, but gaps are there to be exploited. Made a lot of money. Like I said, I think even Cedric had an account deactivated from this as well. Alex did as well. I did as well. So many people I know did as well, like not just my students, but people in the FBA space. There's still some guys who still sell these who aren't getting deactivated. I don't know how. But like I said, it was a fun time where we made a lot of money. And I'm not saying that, you should do this and then get your account banned because it's really worth it. But, when we did get accounts banned or whatever, we actually did get them back. Like we had, the invoices were there. It just was just a long process. So if anything, it did work. It was just a bit long, like Amazon asking for all these invoices because customers complaining. So it was just a bit of a headache, but I managed to submit the invoices and they worked. So it was okay for me anyway. And yeah, like in terms of actually sourcing these products and the strategy on how I managed to flip it, remember, I went for high ROI. I exploited a gap in the market. And I went aggressive. So those are your three things. I went aggressive in the sense of I plunged in more money. I reinvested. So I just kept reinvesting. As you guys can see from that previous product, when we were making 1.5K profit per month, I didn't start taking that out and paying my rent. That's not what you want to do. Instead, I subsidized my rent with other things, whether that was maybe some of the trading stuff I had going on, whether that was, again, picking up some part-time jobs. I was doing some extra stuff on the side. When I'd come home from uni, I'd quickly pick up a part-time job, make a quick grand, use that to fund the rent, student finance, overdraft. Like there's ways to do it. When you find a business that works, you have to just stop and go full aggressive into that reinvestment. And that's how you scale. Don't be pulling money out. It's silly until you get to a point where you don't really need to plunge all your money in and you're kind of cruising. To scale, you have to reinvest. So yeah, this was kind of a story time on how I went from £300 to 25K. Product reveal as well. This was one of the products. There was others as well. Like another one, like I said, was this product here. This Korean product. These two were absolutely insane. As you can see, selling 3K times per month. I mean, we were buying this one here. Yeah, this was ridiculous. I think even Cedric was on this as well. He made a lot of money from this. We were selling this at the time. I think we were buying it for like £5.30. That's what I remember this one. We were selling it for £25.99. I promise you, like, it was absolutely ridiculous. But that listing got shut and we got kicked off. But some of the ROIs were absolutely nuts. And I think we sold at least 250 of these. So that flip was ridiculous. Like, and again, it wasn't fake. There was just a gap in the market. They were selling so fast that no one could keep up with the stock as well. Because they were coming from Asia, what would happen is people would buy it, but then they'd run out of stock. And then by the time they could get more stock in, it would be 2 weeks. So you'd have a 2-week period where you can actually just inflate the price massively and make a shit ton of money, which was sick. So obviously do the product research methods that I'm showing you guys of, but you actually do need to have a little bit of a brain in terms of where can you actually capitalize, where can you actually take a risk, because risks do pay off. So I've even done this recently with a product that is, and I'm not going to show you, but it's a product which I literally this month was buying. I think the fees may be the same, but I'm buying again for £5. I'm buying this for £5.95 including all fees, and I'm selling it for £22, or is it £23? Yeah, £23.99. Again, I'd say my ROI is a little bit lower. It's about 150%, but I managed to buy 400 of them, and I'd say it's a bit lower than that. But do you see how one product can really just push things up? Obviously, you can have your consistent products as well, which are selling decently well every day, the ones that everyone else has. But again, if you want to scale this and do something different, you've got to think differently. So yeah, this is a little cool video into how I actually flipped the £300 to 25K. I've never really spoken about it that much. I wanted to show you guys an example as well, because I feel like it's the right time. You won't be able to buy any of these now. They're all brand protected. The supplier just won't work anymore. If you do and you want to take that risk, guys, don't blame me. You will get deactivated. Highly likely you'll have a deactivation now. Or if you don't have a deactivation, it's just not worth it right now with Korean, just from what I know. And in terms of like the market, because now if you look at this here, yeah, the brand is actually on the listing. So what's happened is a lot of these products, because sellers kept complaining, the brand stepped in and the brand now sells it. Same with some of these Arabian ones as well. The brand's now stepped in, the brand's now selling it. So that's what happens sometimes when you have a lot of these authentic ones. But if you do catch a niche which is basically booming and there's no brand protection, basically plunge into that niche and take as much out as you can from it. And then once it gets brand protected, move on, take out your money and just move. This is essentially how we did it. And it's funny because, like I said, the students in SS University did it with me as well, which was even cooler. We all basically cleaned up, and that's the power of having a network. That's the power of having a team as well. So I'm always big on that. And yeah, make sure you check out all the links in the description as well. And make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all soon.